Kentucky Congressman James Comer. Congressman, it's great to hear from you and have you on the show. Okay, multiple trucker convoys are heading to Washington. We're seeing reports they're crossing through Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Indianapolis. The timing is unclear now. Yes, one convoy out of California disbanded, but the protesters are still coming. What do you say?
Well, I say this is their constitutional right. I welcome them to Washington, D.C. I'm glad they're coming. They need to be here. These are salt-of-the-earth people. They don't ever ask for anything. They just want their freedom. They just want their freedom. I think we've all seen in America with the supply side challenges that truckers are essential workers. These people work hard. They pay taxes, and they're sick and tired of the government mandates. They're sick and tired of government policy that's holding them back, making it harder to operate. And they just want their freedom, and I'm glad they're coming, and I hope the Democrats in Washington hear them loud and clear.
You know, there are hundreds of National Guard troops potentially going to be deployed in D.C. Let's back up. About a half a dozen provinces in Canada, including Alberta and Nova Scotia, they are set to end their COVID restrictions after the trucker protests, and an Ipsos poll found 54% of Canadians believe those protests did have at least some effect on the provincial government's easing restrictions. So we're seeing now states already pulling back. So put this all in that context.
Well, I think that the American politicians are learning what Canadian politicians learned the hard way, and that's that the truckers are a lot more popular than the politicians. The average Canadian thinks just like the average American that we need the truckers a whole lot more than we need liberal politicians. So I think as the truckers are making their way here, you're going to hear more and more liberal mayors, liberal governors say, you know what, I think this COVID thing, it's time to move on. And I think that's why you're seeing tonight at the State of the Union, for the first time in 2 years, Nancy Pelosi's ended the mask mandate. People are going to be on the House floor without wearing masks. So the truckers have made a difference. This is what a grassroots movement is all about.
Yeah, the questions are, where is the science of those decisions, right? Because now we see California, Oregon, Washington joining Delaware, ending mask mandates in schools. 7 total are dropping that. The Connecticut governor says nearly 90% of schools in Connecticut will drop mask rules, and New York City is dropping COVID vaccine passports.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that politicians usually can comprehend is a poll, and the polls are overwhelmingly showing that Americans are fed up with these COVID mandates. They're ready to get back to normal. They see states like Florida, South Dakota, and Tennessee where they never stopped. They kept on with their normal lives and without all the government mandates. They've prospered and done well. They're sick and tired of not only the mandates on our workers, but on our children. And hopefully the last bastion of mandates are still our children in these city public school systems where they're still required to wear masks. Hopefully this trucker movement will make a dent in that too.
You know, Congressman, the New York Times is reporting Pfizer's shot is far less effective in 5 to 11-year-olds than in older kids. So the data keeps coming in on these vaccines that are pretty still new to the market, even though, you know, we've got, you know, officials in Washington saying, you know, yes to boosters, yes to vaccinating children, right? So when the new data come in and you see stories like that, people say, hey, wait a second. What about your directives and your earlier guidance? You know, so there's that. And we had Sweden's chief epidemiologist say, you know, Sweden, our approach was doing what the WHO said and reported in 2019, what the UK did, that the pandemic playbooks of shutdowns do not work. That was based on data from the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic.
Yeah, and the science has always shown that the school is the safest place and that children are the least susceptible to being hospitalized because of COVID. So it's really unfortunate what our school children have had to go through over the past 2 years, especially in the cities, especially in the school systems that are run by the teachers union. So hopefully this will never happen again. And it's just real disappointing because the science has been so inconsistent and Fauci's been all over the board. And, you know, the American people are fed up with this.